What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Aaron for the donation to the channel, the $10 donation to the channel via the PayPal. He leaves a note. It's a question. He says, your opinion on what a prime Bird and Magic would average in today's wide open era of NBA hoops? Points, rebounds, assists, and potential MVPs and chips. I'm always asked how it's a more athletic and skilled game today in my chat groups, and Bird Magic would be average players. I just want to see your opinion with these guys, whether you share your opinion with these guys, whether you agree or disagree with me. I mean, we don't really know, quite honestly. So all this stuff is speculative. It's just guessing. But I would assume that Larry Bird probably would thrive in today's NBA. If he was the same guy mentally and just had some of, if he was the same guy mentally and he approached the game in a similar manner, with adjustments, of course, to today's style, today's league, and having the advantages of today's advancements in medicine and science. First of all, I think that, when Larry Bird played, he played primarily the small forward and power forward positions. When he first came with the Boston Celtics, he played power forward, while Cornbread Maxwell played small forward. And this was the case until, I believe, Cornbread Maxwell got injured. I think it was the 84-85 season. And ultimately, he was traded to the Clippers. And six-man Kevin McHale was implemented into the lineup, pushing him to the power forward position, which put Bird in the small forward position. But really, you can make a case that Boston had two power forwards in the game, Bird and McHale, because later on, when McHale started having issues with injuries, and Bird became a six-man, when McHale became a six-man again, or whatever the case may be, Bird was pushed back to the power forward position. So you have that. Today we have so-called positionless basketball. So with the advancements in medicine, supplements, nutrition, remember, players used to smoke at halftime back then. So I definitely think Bird would be even better health-wise, even though people forget that Bird did have a great workout regimen. I think that he'd be even better today. And I think he'd be, obviously, even a little bit bigger. You could argue, hey, he was 6'9.5" and, 215, 220 back then. Maybe toward the end of his career when he was taking the steroids, maybe 230. I would argue today he might be 6'10.5" and maybe 235, 240 from the jump. Perhaps a little bit more athletic. But look at Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is not the most athletic guy. Jokic is not the most athletic guy, and they're dominant players. I tend to think with the way that the game is played today, more three-pointers. Bird back then probably took 1 to 2 a game. Maybe later on in his career, maybe 3. Just thinking on top of my head. Maybe 3 a game at most. He would have individual games where he took 5, 6, 7 threes, But generally speaking, he didn't take a lot of them. Where in today's NBA, hey, you got players who take 11, 12, 15, sometimes even 20-some threes in the game. But Bird, for his era, shot 37.6% from downtown, which was significantly better than when most players shot back then. I mean, in the 80s, shooting 29% was good. So if Bird was doing that much better in a league that didn't practice threes like that, not compared to today, I mean, what can we make an argument that he'd be perhaps one of the great shooters of all time? I mean, people can't play defense the way he used to. But I still think Bird would be more inclined. I think he would shoot more threes, but I don't think he would be Curry. Some people say they think he would be Curry. I just don't see that. Not with the all-around game he had. You know, Bird was a guy that could score in the post, he had the mid-range, and could knock him out from outside. I mean, I had to take a guess. I think he'd take about maybe 5 or 6 threes a game, shoot some mid-range jumpers, and I think he'd do a lot of damage in the post. I think his field goal percentage would be higher. For his career, he was around 49.6% for his career, which is still great. In his best years, he was around 50 to 52%. One year, he shot about 53%. I think in today's NBA, with his height advantage, like I said, I think he'd be about 6'10" in today's league. Or 6'9", bare feet, 6'10" with shoes. I think in today's league, man, he would be shooting a high percentage. I think he would be shooting over 50% in his prime. I think he'd be a 50-40-90 guy perennially. Honestly, I think he would have multiple 50-40-90 seasons. And if the years that he wasn't 50-40-90, he'd be, 51-39-89, 51-40-89, 51-39-92, stuff like that. Incredible shooter. Bird was never noted as a great defender, not a lockdown defender. He was a great help defender in his prime. But I do believe that, considering the fact that you have players today who are allergic to playing defense, his effort on defense would stand out. It'd be to a point where people might even overrate his defense a little bit. But I could see Bird getting a lot of steals, passing lane steals, and igniting fast breaks that way, which is something that could be a bit risky, because if you don't get that steal, then you get beat defensively, right? But yeah, I think that with how wide open the game is, I think he would get even more triple doubles. I think he would average more points. I think he'd get more rebounds. I think his assists would be up a little bit, just because of the way the game is played. I would say, look, if he averaged 24, 10, and 6 back then, I would say today, prime years, he might average, because there's so many more threes, and these guys have a license to shoot them, I would say, man, shoot. I think his scoring would go well. I think he would have numbers like Luka, but be more impactful and a higher IQ player. And more efficient. I would say 30, 10, and maybe 8 would be Bird's numbers. 30, 10, and 8, or maybe 30, 11, and 8. And I think he would shoot somewhere around 40% from outside, maybe 41%, and about 90% from the free throw line. I don't think he would turn the ball over that much. As far as accolades, I don't know. I would assume he'd win at least a couple MVP awards. It all depends on how things break down. Magic Johnson would probably play about the same. Only difference is he would shoot more threes. He would shoot more threes, I would reckon, and he would still be an absolute terror on the fast break. Maybe a bigger, stronger, not as fast version, a better version though of Tyrese Halliburton. You know, I think his scoring to be about the same. What did he average for his career? 19 plus. I think his best season was 22. Well, then I could see him maybe in today's era averaging 24. I could see him getting about 9 rebounds. And oh man, with the way things are called as far as assists today, I do believe that his turnovers will be high. I think he still will average around 4 turnovers a night plus. So I think he would lead the NBA in turnovers quite a few seasons. But the flip side is that he would win an unprecedented amount of assist titles. I think he would average in this era, man, between 12 to 15 assists a night. And I'm being very dead serious when I say that. Early on in his career, he gambled for a lot of steals. So I wouldn't be surprised if he led the NBA steals when he was younger. But he became a better, more disciplined defender as he got older. He didn't gamble as much. So steals went down a little bit. I don't know about MVPs. I would reckon both of them would win MVPs in their careers. I don't know about championships. That's just something that you can't determine. But if you got talent around these guys, just any type of talent around these guys, they're going to take their team to the playoffs. They're going to take them deep. If you get a superstar around these guys, then they're going to be good. If you give them another superstar, like I tell you what, if you give one of these guys or both of these guys an AD, they're going to go to the finals. And because of nutrition and other factors, they're going to play longer. Whatever issues Bird had with his back, first of all, the issue that Bird had with his finger would have been resolved. The finger that he injured in that softball game, which he said actually made him worse as a shooter, which is amazing, considering how great a shooter he was, that would have been surgically fixed. Then the back issue, that could have been stopped in his tracks earlier. That could have been something that, could have been delayed for several years and tacked on some more prime years for him. Maybe he would have played for another 6. He would have played for 16 and 17 seasons instead of just 13. Magic Johnson, of course, had to retire because of diagnosis of HIV. Now, of course, HIV is still prevalent. Well, I'm not going to say prevalent, but HIV is still out there, but it's not what it once was. It's not what it once was, and I have a feeling that Magic Johnson's behaviors will be a little different today. So, if you make the assumption that Magic probably would have played until he was in his mid-30s back then, at the very least, with the addition of science, Magic is the guy that I think could have played a lot longer. Magic's the guy I think that could have played 18 plus years. So Magic's the guy that I think could have wound up the all-time assist leader had he played the length of time that he probably could have maximally played, especially put him in today's game. So I think he could have been the all-time leader in assists. I think Magic would have cracked 25,000 points, obviously. His numbers would be even more ridiculous as far as numbers. Championships is something I just can't determine. We just can't decipher those types of things. But I would assume they'd have won a couple of MVP awards, each one of them. But that's my take on it, Niche, you know what I'm saying? Just a snapshot take on it. Both of them, I think, would have thrived in today's game, but especially Larry Bird. But Magic would have been, still just, he'd been a killer. Scoring in the post, knocking down threes. I tend to think also that Magic would have played various different positions. Magic legitimately could have played, I think, in today's NBA, all 5 positions. Magic was what, 6'9", 215 back then? So let's just say with conditioning and strength training and genetics, and let's say Magic would be, even though he really was 6'7.5", but let's say he's 6'9" and 235, right? That's big enough to at least against some teams playing center. So you could conceivably say that Magic could have played center, power forward, small forward, shooting guard, and and point guard in today's NBA. You know what I'm saying? A matchup nightmare. Absolute nightmare out there on the court. That's just my take on that. Tell me what you guys think.